Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be looking at the midpoint of 2 points. Okay, so in this lesson we're just going to be looking at how to actually derive the formula of the midpoint, and I'll be taking you through two basic examples. This stuff doesn't really get too difficult, so hopefully this lesson should be pretty simple. So we're going to start off by considering an axis, and we're going to have 2 points. Okay, the first point here. I've just labeled x1, y1, which indicates that it can be just any point on the axis. Okay, so this is a general case that we're going to be considering. The other point is x2, y2. Okay, yet again, just the general point. It can be anywhere on the axis, so long as it's not the same point. Okay, and what we've got going on is this point here, M, which I'm going to label as the midpoint. Okay, which has coordinates x and y, just basic coordinates x and y. And the midpoint is basically the middle of these 2 points over here. And what it ends up doing, if we consider the midpoint, is that the distance from here to here is equal to the distance from there to there. Okay, so these are both equal. So that distance is equal to like this distance. Okay. Now the question is, how do we actually get the formula? All right. And essentially, because the midpoint's the middle of these two coordinates here, we break it down into its x and y coordinate, and we say, well, the x coordinate is going to just be the middle of these two x coordinates, and the y coordinate is going to be the middle of these two y coordinates. Okay. And how we actually do that is, well, we consider basically just the average of them, because if we can get the average of 2 points, it'll just basically be the middle of 2 points. And how do we calculate average? Well, we sum up every, in data, when we consider the average of something, we sum up all the data values we have and divide it by the amount of data values we have. Okay. So in this case here, we have two coordinates, and we're going to be adding them together and dividing by how many coordinates we have, which is just 2. Okay, so we're going to say that the x coordinate of the midpoint, so I'm just going to say x coordinate of the midpoint, x subscript m, is equal to x1 plus x2. So we add the two coordinates together and divide it by 2 to take the average. Okay, and that's just basically the middle. And hopefully you should deduce that the y coordinate of the midpoint is just going to be the y coordinate plus the other y coordinate, okay, of those 2 points that we're considering, all divided by 2 yet again. Okay. And so if we if we formally write it in terms of like coordinate form, we say the midpoint has coordinates x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. Alright, so that's basically how we obtain the midpoint. Hopefully nothing too scary over here. So now we'll just look at two examples of how to actually apply this formula. So the first example we look at is nice and simple, just asking us to find the midpoint of an interval AB, where A is the coordinate -4, 7, and B is the coordinate 8, -11. Okay, and we want to find the middle of these two. So the x coordinate of the midpoint is equal to, remember, x1 plus x2 over 2, which is going to be equal to -4 plus 8. So we consider the x coordinate, so -4 plus 8 all over 2, which is equal to -4 plus 8 is just 4 all over 2, which is 2. So the x coordinate of the midpoint is 2. All right. And if I consider the y, the y coordinate of the midpoint, that's just equal to that's equal to y1 plus y2 over 2, which is equal to, well, 7 plus -11, which is just 7 minus 11 over 2. 7 minus 11 gets us -4 over 2. Okay, and -4 over 2 is just -2. So we've got basically our x and y coordinate of the midpoint. So we make a statement, therefore the midpoint is 2, negative 2. So our x coordinate followed by the y coordinate. So hopefully nothing too difficult over here. Okay, it's a very, very simple example, but you want to be aiming for 4 marks for all these types of questions because they're not too difficult. Now the last example isn't difficult as well, although it's just a little bit more applied than the previous example. It just says find the value of A and B when the midpoint of this coordinate here, A3, and this coordinate here, 7B, is 5, 4. So we're saying the midpoint of these two has coordinates 5, 4. Okay, and so we're just finding A and we're just finding B, and the question is, well, what is A and B? So we know that the midpoint is 5, 4. So recalling the formula for the x coordinate of the midpoint, which is x, the x coordinate is equal to x1 plus x2 over 2. So what's our x coordinate of the midpoint? And that's 5. Okay, and that's equal to x1 plus x2, which is a plus 7. So it's going to be a plus 7 all over 2. And you solve this as an equation. Multiply by 2 on both sides, and what we get is 10 is equal to a plus 7. Subtract by 7 on both sides, and you get a is equal to 3. Okay. If we're considering the y coordinate, remember y is equal to y1 plus y2 all over 2. What's the y coordinate of the midpoint? And that's 4. So 4 is equal to y1 plus y2, which is 3 plus b. Okay, so 3 plus b all over 2, times by 2 on both sides, and we get 8 is equal to 3 plus b. Subtract by 3, and we get b is equal to 5. Okay, and that's quite simply our solution. Okay, and that does us. So I hope you learned something. I don't think this is very difficult. Okay, it's pretty easy to comprehend, I feel. It's literally just one formula and just subbing it in, and understanding the scenario that we're considering. That's really the hard part. Okay, so yeah, I hope you learned something. Good luck with your studies, and I'll leave you with that.